Kamala Harris is in a panic mode, saying that she is losing with black men. Do you see that on the ground in Detroit? Fill us in. What are you hearing and seeing? Is that correct?
Charlie, I'm seeing black men tell me they want to fill up my church bus and they'd rather travel 3 days to go outside of the country to Mexico to come back into the country because they believe that illegal immigrants actually have it better in our city, the city of Detroit, better than those who have been here their whole lives. We are seeing human trafficking. We are seeing specifically 28 Venezuelans right here in our own community that our own church is serving. And now those resources that typically would be given to Black Americans who are poor and in poverty, they're being given to Venezuelans because Jesus said that we ought to love the least of these. Charlie, we are in a complex situation. Voter integrity is the biggest thing that we're hearing our community talk about. The number one reason why people say they're going with President Trump, because he's the only president that had the spiritual and the natural insight to know that elections were going to be rigged. But we believe that in 3 weeks, this is going to be too big to rig. We are raising up spiritual revivalists who are also political scientists.
I love that. So Pastor, what issues, so black men in particular are free thinkers, and they do not believe the Democrat Party represents their values any longer. Can you speak to that, about how we're seeing the black community no longer be as loyal of a voting bloc? Again, in addition, we've seen, actually, let me play this tape for you, Pastor, if I can, and then I want to have you respond. Let's play cut 42, please, CNN. Play cut 42.
And sometimes there's a trend line that I never noticed before and make me go, whoa. This is one of them, all right? This is the Democratic margin among black men under the age of 45 in presidential elections. You go back to November of 2012, what do you see? You see Obama by 81. Clinton only won him by 63. Then we're all the way down to Biden last time around by 53. A tremendous drop already. And then you take a look at the average of the most recent polls, and Kamala Harris is up by only 41 points. That is about half the margin that Obama won them by back in November of 2012. And this, I think, is, when Barack Obama goes in last week when he was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, essentially talking to young black men, he made it seem like it was a Kamala Harris specific problem. This is part of a long-standing trend of young black men moving away from the Democratic Party, and Kamala Harris is just the latest to face that magnitude of younger black men going towards the Republicans.
That was
younger black men, Pastor, a 40-point collapse since Obama. Help me explain why that is the case.
When President Trump came here, Charlie, this is what we found out, that there is a movement of young black men that have been asking the question, why is it that our communities have remained the same? Why is it that we've had Democratic leadership in our communities and our communities remain the same? And those young black men are beginning to do their research, finding out that they've been lied to, finding out that they've been exploited, finding out that the Democratic Party is really demonic in terms of ripping away our families, in terms of painting these false narratives, in terms of racism, that the Democratic Party really is the party of slavery, really the party of Jim Crow, really the party that has ripped away the black family. So we see young black men saying that Republicans are the party of freedom, that Republicans are the party of emancipation, that Republicans are the party that was willing to come to the west side of Detroit, the real part of Detroit, the part of Detroit that's not gentrified by black Democratic leaders that are kicking our black people out by redistributing their wealth to people that don't even live in the city. Charlie, black men are saying enough is enough. They're going with President Donald J. Trump because they know that the First Step Act worked for them. They understood that opportunity zones work for them. And they know that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, they understood that that portal was open for them during the time of the Trump-Pence era in a way that it's never been open historically. Young black men understand that this is their time. This is our season. We're about to see a red wave all throughout Detroit.
Boy, I hope you're right. I want you to respond to Joy Reid, who is just doing what Joy Reid does. Play cut 61, please.
Have you noticed how sharply the polls have shifted in Trump's favor over the last couple weeks? With these claims that Trump is surging with black and Latino voters and leading in every single swing state, according to secret internal polls, despite all the Hitler talk. Yes, this race will be far too close. Because unfortunately, we do have a fascist groundswell in parts of this country, mainly among white men, let's be clear, but in small pockets among black and brown men, too. This happens to be a global phenomenon as women become more economically independent and seek positions of power.
Pastor, your response to Miss Joy Reid there.
Well, we know that Joy Reid, she's very concerned. She's concerned because black men are beginning to rise up, and that black men specifically understand that it's Donald J. Trump who they can trust to bring our country back to a place of stability. It's black men that understand that there was no inflation, there was no immigration problems, that there was safety all throughout the land, and specifically with the family. The Democratic Party, they've played their hand in terms of transgenderism. There aren't any black men that want their little girls playing with boys in sports. And we are a people that understand we will not be exploited. We will not allow the propaganda of people like Joy Reid and Roland Martin and others to inflate our understanding of what it means in terms of our political vote. We know that our voice matters. We know that our vote matters. We know that President Barack Obama didn't do anything for black people. We know that if Vice President Harris actually did something for black people, she can just point to her record. She can't point to her record because she doesn't have a record. Only thing she can do is deflect. Only thing she can do is virtue signal. Only thing she can do is play identity politics. And black people are saying it is not working. We're saying like Sam Cooke, it's been a long time coming, but we know that a change is about to come.